Look up at the night sky. That bright, mysterious object hanging above us has inspired myths, religions, love poems, werewolves, and approximately 97% of all romantic beach scenes in movies. It's the moon. Humanity has stared at it for thousands of years, asking questions like, what's it made of? Can we go there? And most importantly, why does it sometimes look like a giant glowing cheese? Today we're exploring everything about Earth's cosmic sidekick, from its violent birth to moon landings, moonquakes, and the possibility that one day people might actually live there. And along the way you'll discover that the moon is somehow both incredibly familiar and completely bizarre. Because despite being our closest neighbor in space, it's hiding some seriously weird secrets. Let's begin. The moon's violent origin. The moon wasn't peacefully created. It was born from one of the most catastrophic collisions in the history of the solar system. Around 4.5 billion years ago, the young Earth was basically a giant ball of molten rock. Then another planet-sized object called Theia by scientists crashed into Earth. Not bumped, not nudged, absolutely obliterated. The impact was so powerful that enormous amounts of material were blasted into space. Imagine smashing two giant balls of hot pizza dough together and watching chunks fly everywhere. Except the pizza is planet-sized, and the oven is space. The debris formed a ring around Earth. Over time, gravity pulled that material together until it became the moon. Which means, technically speaking, the moon is made partly from Earth. The moon is basically Earth's detached child, or cosmic scar, depending on how dramatic you're feeling. Scientists know this because rocks brought back from the moon contain chemical signatures remarkably similar to Earth's. So every time you look at the moon, you're looking at material that was once part of our planet. That's either beautiful or slightly unsettling. How big is the moon really? The moon looks huge in the sky, but space is really good at playing tricks on your brain. The moon is about 3,474 kilometers across. That sounds enormous, and it is, but compared to Earth, it's only about 1/4 our diameter. You could line up roughly 50 moons across the width of the United States. Its gravity is only 1/6 as strong as Earth's. If you weigh 180 pounds on Earth, you'd weigh about 30 pounds on the moon. Which sounds amazing until you realize your diet plan still doesn't work because mass isn't the same thing as weight. Nice try. The moon is also moving away from Earth. Every year, it drifts approximately 3.8 centimeters farther away. That's about the speed your fingernails grow. So don't panic, we're not losing it anytime soon. Although in hundreds of millions of years, future humans, if humans still exist, will see a slightly smaller moon. Assuming they're not busy fighting robot squirrels or whatever the future has planned. The moon controls our oceans. Here's where things get really impressive. The moon literally moves entire oceans. Twice every day, huge masses of water rise and fall because of the moon's gravity. These are tides. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth. The oceans respond more easily than solid rock, creating bulges of water. As Earth rotates, different locations pass through these bulges. Result? High tide, low tide, repeat forever. Without the moon, tides would be much weaker. Many scientists think the moon may have played a major role in creating conditions that helped life evolve. So if you've ever enjoyed seafood, beaches, or the existence of complex life itself, you might owe the moon a thank you card. The moon also stabilizes Earth's tilt. Without it, our planet could wobble dramatically over time. That could lead to extreme climate changes. In other words, the moon isn't just hanging around looking pretty. It's quietly helping keep Earth habitable, like a giant cosmic babysitter. What is the moon actually like? Let's say you somehow teleport to the moon. First problem, you'd immediately die. But after solving that minor issue, here's what you'd notice. The moon has almost no atmosphere. No breathable air, no weather, no rain, no wind, no clouds, no birds, no mosquitoes. Actually, the mosquito part sounds fantastic. Because there's no atmosphere, footprints can remain for millions of years. The footprints left by Apollo astronauts are probably still there today. The temperature is ridiculous. In sunlight, it can exceed 120 degrees Celsius. In darkness, it can plunge below -170 degrees Celsius. The moon's surface is covered by fine dust called regolith. It's sharp, clingy, and gets everywhere. Apollo astronauts complained that lunar dust was one of the most annoying parts of their missions. Think glitter, but scientifically engineered by nature to be even more irritating. The Apollo moon landings, on July 20, 1969, humanity achieved something extraordinary. The crew of Apollo 11 landed on the moon. For the first time in history, human beings stood on another world. When Neil Armstrong stepped onto the surface, he spoke the famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Millions watched from Earth. Computers used in the mission had less processing power than modern calculators. Yet somehow humanity landed people on the moon. It's one of the greatest engineering achievements ever accomplished. Over 6 Apollo missions, 12 astronauts walked on the lunar surface. They collected rocks, conducted experiments, drove lunar vehicles, and generally proved that humans will drive absolutely anything if given the opportunity. The final moon landing occurred in 1972. Since then, nobody has returned, which means the last human footprints on the moon are now more than 50 years old. Moonquakes, ice, and strange discoveries. You might think the moon is geologically dead. Not quite. The moon experiences moonquakes. Yes, moonquakes. They're similar to earthquakes but often last much longer. Scientists have also discovered water ice in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. This is a huge deal. Water means future astronauts could potentially create drinking water, oxygen, and even rocket fuel. The moon could become a stepping stone for deeper exploration of space. Researchers are still learning new things about our nearest neighbor. Even after centuries of observation and decades of space exploration, the moon continues to surprise us. Which is pretty impressive for a giant rock that's been hanging around for 4.5 billion years. The future of the moon. Humanity is preparing to return. Space agencies and private companies are developing missions aimed at establishing a long-term presence on the moon. Future astronauts may build lunar bases. Scientists could conduct research there. Resources found on the moon might support missions to Mars and beyond. For the first time since Apollo, returning to the moon is becoming a serious reality. The next era of lunar exploration could be even more ambitious than the first. Because this time, the goal isn't just visiting, it's staying. Conclusion. The moon has watched over Earth since before life existed. It shaped our oceans, stabilized our planet, inspired countless stories, and became the first destination beyond Earth ever reached by humans. It's familiar enough to light our nights, yet mysterious enough that we're still uncovering its secrets. Not bad for a giant rock. If you enjoyed this journey to Earth's closest cosmic companion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know. If you could spend one day on the moon, what's the first thing you would do? And the next time you see the moon in the night sky, remember, you're looking at a piece of Earth's ancient past floating 384,000 kilometers away. Thanks for watching.